self. And in one sense, you can't give somebody self-esteem, whether you're a friend or a parent or a teacher. But what you can do is give people opportunities to build up self-esteem. Now, self-esteem starts out when you're a tiny little baby. Hopefully, not everybody gets this, most people do, at least in America, I hope, is that most people, you come out, you're a baby, you're helpless, and hopefully you're with a family that basically comforts you, picks you up, rocks you. If you're crying, they find out, do you need your diapers changed? Do you just need cuddling? Are you hungry? What is it? And on an unconscious level, what happens is the baby starts to realize, I am of value. Somebody is taking care of me, therefore I'm important. Obviously, it's on an unconscious level. As the baby goes from newborn to 2 months old to a year old, you're basically doing all these things. You're teaching them little things, you're feeding them, you're doing all these things, and it continues this, I have value, I am important. But as they get older, and anybody here has younger brothers or sisters or cousins or whatever, you'll notice that they hit a point where they want to, let's say, take the spoon out of your hand, you've been feeding them. I could do it, I could hold it, okay? I used to have this with my little friend, and of course we put him in the car seat to go to daycare, whatever, he was like 1 or 2 years old, and you put him in the car seat, you put the belt around him, you close the door. He hit this point where he'd start to cry. He didn't really have a lot of words yet. It's like, no, what? I could close it. He wanted to close the door. That was a big deal. He wanted to show that he can close it, maybe show it to himself. He can close the door. He's developing his own self-esteem. And it's like with little kids, they start to walk, where basically they start to walk, they fall down. But they start to build their own self-esteem by falling down and getting back up again. So whether it's learning to feed themselves, closing the car door, falling down and getting up, they're building their own self-esteem. If I would run over to my friend that every time he fell down and picked him up, he would always be relying on somebody else to help him. The idea is what you want to do is provide opportunities for someone to develop self-esteem. Now, in a sense, another thing would be like, I like this analogy. Like you have a person right over here. Let's just say, for instance, somebody gave you a lottery ticket for your birthday. You won $1 million. Would you be happy?
Yeah.
You would. I think most people would. Let's say it's different. I look over here. You happen to create an app or something to that effect, and all of a sudden you put it online. Before you knew it, it took off. It went viral, and now you made $1 million from that. You didn't think that was going to happen, but you did. You worked at this thing. You had an idea. You worked at it. My guess is you're going to have a lot more self-esteem than you. You're both going to be happy that you made $1 million, but the self-esteem comes with you. So for instance, let's say you lost $1 million. You're going to have to rely on luck that you win another lottery. If you lost your $1 million, you probably in the back of your mind say, hey, I did it once. Yeah, I could do it again. Self-esteem. Now, the other way we get self-esteem, so it comes from these two different places. Sometimes self-esteem comes from the outside. Sometimes it comes from within. And as time goes on, it has to come from within. I'm going to change the point just a little bit. So let's say, imagine this is the floor of your house. This is you, the floor of your house. Now, is the house built on the ground? You build a house? What's it built on?
Foundation.
Okay, why? What's a foundation made of?
Usually like something hard.
Something hard. Concrete, stone, brick, something that is not going to rot, basically. If it was just a wood house, like a lot of houses are made a lot out of wood or drywall, you just put it on the ground, it's over time, it's going to get wet, it's going to get infested, and it's going to start to rot. Now, if you have a beautiful sunny day, day after day after day after day, that house might last a long time, and you might think you have a great house. But the problem is, sooner or later, a storm is going to come, whether it's the weather storm or a life storm. And if you don't have a strong foundation under you, that's when you're going to start to see the weakness. So, what you need to do is start to build up, basically, a foundation under you, a support system. Now, imagine this for a second. So let's just say, for the sake of discussion, you're new in school, all right? You don't really have any friends. And all of a sudden, somebody comes to you and says, hey, Steve, you seem like a nice guy. You're attractive, you're fun, you seem to be pretty smart. Would you like to go on a date with me? And I'm like, sure, that sounds great. And I feel really good because I'm getting the self-esteem from the outside. Somebody who doesn't have to like me, not like my mother or my sister. No, you gotta like me, you're my mother, you're my father. No, this person didn't have to like me. So they do, and I feel self-esteem. I'm no longer in the mud. I got a girlfriend. Or boyfriend, or whatever the case may be, but using that as an example. Look, see? That's me, that's my fault. The problem is, it's not very strong, as you can see. Now, if the girlfriend, I'm gonna use you, be sure just right in front of me if you don't mind. If you're a great girlfriend and have no problems and you're perfect every single day, like I said, no storms ever, I'm in great shape. The problem is if there's a little bit of a storm, it doesn't take much to fall over. And now let's just say that, as an example, you have some of those qualities we talked about, like you're abusive, you're manipulating, you're very controlling, you're too jealous, all right? Now, am I gonna get rid of you? Well, you got a lot of qualities I don't like, but if I just get rid of you, I'm back in the mud all the time. But if I'm in a relationship, even if it's a bad relationship, I'm like this. It's like, yeah, I know sometimes she's really bad and I'm in the mud and it's an unhealthy relationship. I get that, but I'm not always in the mud. I'm not always by myself on Friday night. I got someone to go to the movies with and talk with, and maybe it's sexual occasionally. It's like, okay, that's not so bad. But this is my relationship? I can't live this way. You can't live in a house like this. So I'm not gonna get rid of the girlfriend because, and this is the way a lot of people think, it's faulty logic. I'd rather have a good relationship than a bad relationship, but a lot of people think a bad relationship is better than no relationship. I'd rather have a bad relationship than no relationship. All my friends, they got relationship. I see it in TV and movies, the romantic thing. They got somebody. She's not bad. Sometimes she is kind of sweet and cuddly and we could make out and stuff like that. Great. No, I'm not getting creepy. All right? So you accept values that you've already stated, as we go back to the board, that are not acceptable. Now, here's what you can do about that. We started talking about self-esteem. So yes, there is self-esteem when somebody who doesn't have to care about you shows that they care about you, even if it's dysfunctional, even if it's part-time. But how about this? What if you start to create some self-esteem based on yourself? So somebody give me an example of something, and I know it exists here, that can give you some self-esteem in life. And I'm not saying just make you feel good. I'm talking making you feel like you've earned something. Feel good is like, I had a gallon of ice cream today and I followed it with pizza. Yeah, that feels good. I like that. I enjoy that. But that's not self-esteem. Anybody can eat. That's not hard. Something that you, in a sense, you've earned. Something that you do that gives you self-esteem, pride.
Working.
Sorry, what?
Working.
Yeah. Do you have a job?
Yeah.
All right. So give me an example. What's the job?
I work at COR, the dietary.
What is it?
The dietary, like serving the food.
Oh, okay, great. So you have a job, you're learning a skill, you're making your own money, you're becoming independent. Great. So all of a sudden, you're doing better. You really are. 2 support systems are better than 1, absolutely. Now the question is, if you were in an abusive relationship, would you get rid of the abusive boyfriend in your case? I still got my job, which is great. I'm still alone Friday night, I'm not making out with anybody, but it's not bad. The problem is, this is not a very healthy thing. The job is great. I agree with it being very good self-esteem. Only problem with it is if it's the only thing you have, for most people, it's not going to be enough. So let's keep it. If it's a good job, they treat you well, you make good money, you feel respected, you're learning things, developing self-esteem. And let's think about something else besides a job. I'm going to go back to the special friend. What else? What else can give you self-esteem in life? I know you guys do. Somebody here does something. Come on. Sport. Who said it? Good. You want a sport? Do you do a sport? Or are you just using an example? I'm sorry, what?
I do dance.
Dance. All right. You said sport, though. I mean, call it either way, because dancing is athletic. All of a sudden, I can just move things around a little bit. It's like, okay, I have a sport or dance. So now I'm getting somewhere. Okay, not great, but better. And you say, hey, I'm getting better. Okay? I have some self-esteem. Maybe I have this boyfriend, girlfriend, this friend, this group, this team that doesn't treat me well. But you know what? I have people from work. I have people on, let's say, my dance troupe, as an example, that at least if I get rid of the boyfriend or the abusive person, now I have 2. Again, not great. I'm not ready to totally ditch the abuser, but I'm getting better. So, as you can see, I have 4 more holes for support systems. So I'm going to ask you now, we can go a little bit quicker. What else could give you self-esteem?
Friend.
What'd you say?
Friend.
Yes, I think it's important. Other friends, besides the special friend, other relationships that need to continue to be nurtured so you're not guilty, not only from the other friend's point of view, but from your own point of view. Like, hey, I hang out with these guys all the time. Now I start to date you, and I never see these guys anymore. For whatever reason. She doesn't want me hanging out with them, or because I'm just so into her, I let that relationship go. I think what you said is important. I need to continue to nurture these other relationships, whether they're friends or family. I don't give up on them, and I still have these other people. So if anybody, you hear somebody say, you don't need them anymore, you have me, that would be most likely a red flag, as we see. All right, so we have a job, we have dance, we have other friends, we have the special person. I have 3 more. Give me three other things. Go.
Fortnite.
Video games. Did I say that? All right. And Fortnite, not that I play it, but you're playing online with a variety of people. It's a skill that you can get better at. Go with video games. All right. You're getting better. 2 more things. Go.
Making something that you worked really hard for and seeing it really.
Could you give me an example?
Gardening.
Gardening, love it. Right, you can see the fruits of your the fruits of your labor. You can, by the way, hey, if nothing else, I'm never gonna go hungry. I know how to grow a certain amount of food. It does make you feel good. By the way, you're nurturing it, and all of a sudden, this little seed, this tiny little nothing, all of a sudden is spewing out cucumbers or apples or tomatoes or kale or whatever it is.
You can also
Great.
ditch the abuser now.
I'm sorry, what?
You can ditch the abuser now.
Well, we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there, but you know what? I got one more. So I got gardening and dancing and work and video games or some other similar hobby.
What about carpenting?
So what is it? Like being a carpenter?
Something like that.
Did you say carpeting?
Yeah.
Like being a carpenter, like building things and?
Yeah. You
I like it.
can build,
Fine.
whittling, working with wood.
Working with wood, fine.
Woodwork.
Now, woodwork, fine. Oh, there we go. Everybody's writing it down. That's great. Now, all of a sudden, now let me give an example. What's your name?
Logan.
Logan?
Yeah.
Logan, do me a favor. Come here. You're not going to be on camera. Okay? But, then fortunately, you have very nice legs. Okay? But, so I'm going to ask you, stand up on this, please. Face the audience, though. There you go. So, Logan, let me ask you, just do a little wiggle. Don't go crazy. Do a little wiggle. You doing okay? Do you feel like you're about to collapse?
No.
All right, stand back for a second. Now, using you as an example, you're the one who said, hey, I'm going to join sports or dance club. You're going to have a job. You're going to get into video games and gardening and carpentry. Thank you. Carpentry, and you're making sure you have other relationships, all right? Now, let's say, you say, you know what, I do like being in a relationship, but you know what, I have self-esteem, and she is, let's say, going past my boundary, my personal values. I'm gonna get rid of this person. Again, it could be an intimate person, it could also be a club or fraternity or whatever that's wanting you to do things to be part of the sorority or the fraternity or the team. It's called hazing, by the way. And you can say no. Now you're going to get rid of it. So now, stand up, please. Okay. Still feel secure?
Yeah.
Good. Stand off for a second. Uh-oh. Bad week. Yes, you were really good. You broke up with this abusive person. You also just had nothing to do with it. You broke your leg. Oh, no more dancing. All right, you still have your other friends. You could do video games. You could do some carpentry. You could work in the garden. You just have a cast on.
No sport.
Okay, little wiggle. Still feel like you're okay?
Yeah.
All right, stand off, please. Okay. Oh, you know what? You got fired. It wasn't your fault. It was like you were the last one hired, first one fired. You know what? I'm sorry, we got to let you go. Man, this is a bad week. You probably wouldn't have broken up with that abusive person if all of a sudden you thought you were going to break your leg and get fired. Stand up. Wiggle. Feel okay?
Yeah.
Good. Stand off, please. All right, now let's see what happens. Because you lost your job, you don't have any money, and you can't buy the tools and the stuff you need for building the things you like to build. All right? Oh, man, this is the week from hell. All right. Hey. And all of a sudden, and you know what, Logan? Because I didn't pay my insurance this month, I'll do this. Now, you can sit on down, Logan. Thank you very much. The point being is now, this is really a bad week. This happens sometimes, but this is like a coincidence of, a conspiracy of coincidences of all these terrible things happening. I'm going to stand up carefully here. and I could do this. I only have three things. I have my other friends, I have my video games, and what was the other thing I had? The gardening. I can still garden. All right? It doesn't cost, in fact, it'll save me money. I'm not making as much money. Maybe I can grow some of my own food. I'm still okay. And the point is, because I personally took charge and made sure I had these other things in my life, I'm still doing okay, even though I broke up with this person who at times I really liked being with. Or I liked the idea that I was in a special relationship. I love my friends, but I do miss actually having that special, intimate relationship. But you know what? I'm deserving of more. And you know what? I could sacrifice it now because you know what? Maybe I'll meet friends and someone to date. My friends will know somebody. Maybe, for instance, in the Fortnite world, maybe there's some other people that I could start to date or whatever. And by the way, you know what? Because I'm young and I'm healthy and I'm making good choices, my leg will come back and heal up, and all of a sudden, now I can start dancing or doing other sports again. And because you were good at your job, you can maybe get a letter of reference, and it's like, okay, they couldn't afford to keep you anymore. It wasn't your fault, but you did well. You can get another job, and basically, you know, maybe get a letter of reference, get another job, and all of a sudden you're doing okay. And now, I lost one, here you are. And now, what was the other thing? Now I could buy the tools or the things to build stuff, which I really like doing, and all of a sudden I'm back here. But never do I have to take back that a person who's abusive. I could replace all the other things, the job, my legs can heal, but I don't have to take back that person. And it's all because of the power, if you choose to use it in your life, in making sure that your life is well-rounded. Okay? If basically your whole life is you come to school, maybe you have a special person, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and then you go home basically and your life is just watching Netflix and that's it. Nothing wrong with Netflix, but that's pretty much school, sit on the couch and watch Netflix. You are making yourself very vulnerable. If you say, I need to get out, what are my hobbies? What are the things I like to do? Things that'll make me feel good about myself. And you go, and there's only 7 things, that's not a lot. And all of a sudden you can do better. So now, having said all that, where's my behind me?
Keep going.
Oh, I really kicked this person away. I never have to take back the abusive. And if I'm going to put this leg back, it's not going to be the abusive or too jealous or the controlling friend or person in my life. It's going to be someone who has the qualities that you said. They're loyal, they're caring, they're respectful, etc. They're going to take that spot. Now, on that note, that little demonstration, if you look at this as, in a sense, a cross-section, okay, you're seeing the table here with the legs, even though the legs are falling out of here, a little bit more masking tape. But the point being is, I'm going to erase this. This is where you guys get to do some work. And as I always say, never be afraid to think, especially of your own life. So, all right, if you're looking at that cross-section there, and it doesn't have to be neat, this is the table. Put my name in there. What's today's date?
30 years.
All right, so that's the date. I like to put that. Now, I'm going to give you a piece of paper, and you're going to make, let's say, like 7 legs. I'm obviously a little sloppy. Make it neater. I don't care. You're the artist. You need to extend that. Extend it. Now, as an example, for me, let's say, for instance, I have job 1. This is like one job. I happen to have another job. Okay. I have, let's say, I'm going to say my special friend, other friend. This is kind of easy. Okay. I also like to ski. Okay. I like to, let's say, garden. And while I'm not really good at it yet, I'm learning to play the drums. So sometimes it could be things in the future. I'm learning to play the drums. All right. So it doesn't always have to be it already exists. It's something I want. Some of you might be thinking, hey, I want to join the Marines, as an example. You can't do it now, you're too young. But you could start the idea. You can do the research. You have to figure out your grades. What will the Marines take? It's future. The point being is, this is an example of, for me, what my support system is. Now, I will say this, though, because I'm going to ask you to do the same thing and think about this. Some of you will spew this out real quick. Some of you will have to take a few minutes to think about it. What do you have now? What do you want? But I will say this, there's a couple of caveats. Let's say, for instance, you're a big sports person. If you like basketball and baseball and football and lacrosse and you're into all that, that's great. But you want one leg and you would have toes. Okay, so this would be baseball and football and lacrosse, all right? Because If this leg was baseball, football, tennis, lacrosse, track, etc., and you broke your leg, you'd be breaking too much. If you have it as one leg, all right, and you broke your leg, you just lose this. You could still do these, now you can't ski, but you can do the drums, you can do the gardening, you have these other things. So my point being, spread it out. And as I said before, it's not something that just makes you feel good. It's something that you say, this would give me pride. Okay? Feel good is, I sit on the couch, I eat M&Ms, and I watch TV and I laugh. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't give you pride. Anybody can do this with a remote control. This type of things, nurturing friendships, developing these skills, academics, whatever it might be, that takes something. So now I'm going to give you all a piece of paper.